Warning. This show may contain offensive content. Viewer discretion is advised.
Riding through the night, engines were ablaze, cameras rolling hard in a wild twisted maze. Levers stealing fire, the open roads are thrown, back in life televised, we're breaking every bone. Adrenaline surges, brace for the fall. Hitting it with HardWire, hear the engine scream. Living fast and reckless, this is our very dream. Riding hard, never slowing in the spotlight we shine. A biker's faithful journey, this life is ours divine. Hitting it with HardWire, the crowd screams the name, chasing down the shadow for addicted to the fame. Chains rattling loud, the brotherhood's alive, every episode gets better, we're here to survive. Some dust till done, we're the kings of this road. Hitting it with HardWire, hear the engine scream. Living fast and reckless, this is our family dream. Riding hard, never slowing in the spotlight we shine. A biker's faithful. On the edge of chaos, we embrace the fear. Hitting it with HardWire, we'll always be here.
Oh, it's coming from my phone. No, where's that echo coming from? My phone is playing. Oh, man. Why am I hearing it? I'm hearing... hearing it play back through here. Oh. That's weird as fuck. I wonder why it's doing that. I don't know.
really like this pipe. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure and give it a like, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future awesome content. Oh, dear. You need to get back up, okay? Get back up. Right back up. Also, if you want to pick up a nifty Kentucky Ballistics t-shirt, swing over to KentuckyBallistics.com. There's a link in the description down below. No, stay up. And as always, my name is Scott. I'm out of breath. Thank you so much for watching Kentucky Ballistics. I'll see you next time.
I don't know why I'm hearing it twice. But it seems like I'm working at least. I had to schedule 2 separate streams. I'm not hearing the echo anymore. That will get copyrighted, you fucker.
You know Ohio for its cities, its farmland, and its place at the heart of American industry. But there are places in this state that don't show up on any tour guide, abandoned asylums hidden in the woods, entire towns that vanished without explanation, tunnels where dozens of people died and locals still won't go near after dark. These places exist, but you won't find most of them on Google Maps. Some have been blurred out, others were never added at all. In this video, we're revealing 15 places in Ohio that Google Maps doesn't want you to see. And make sure you stick around until the end, because number 1 is a place so disturbing, so tied to tragedy and rumor, that even the people who live nearby refuse to talk about what really happened there. So hit that subscribe
Wonder
button.
why my
Let's
chat's not
begin.
working.
Number 15. Helltown, Summit County. In the Cuyahoga Valley, just south of Cleveland, there's an area that locals have called Helltown for decades. The name isn't official. You won't find it on any map. But the stories about this place have made it one of the most notorious locations in Ohio. In the 1970s, the federal government began buying up land to create the Cuyahoga Valley National Recreation Area. Entire communities were forced to relocate. Homes were boarded up, churches were abandoned, roads that once connected neighborhoods suddenly led to nowhere. For years, these empty buildings sat in the woods, slowly decaying. The sudden emptiness created the perfect breeding ground for legends. People claimed to see satanic symbols on the abandoned church. They reported a school bus in the woods where something terrible had happened to the children inside. They spoke of mutant creatures and government experiments. None of it was true. The church was a normal Presbyterian church. The bus was left by a construction company. The mutations were just deer. But the legends persisted because the atmosphere was so unsettling. Today, most of the abandoned structures have been demolished. The National Park Service has cleaned up the area, but the name Helltown stuck, and people still come looking for something sinister in these quiet woods. Number 14. Moonville Tunnel, Vinton County. Deep in the forests of southeastern Ohio, an old railroad tunnel stands alone in the wilderness. No tracks lead to it anymore. No trains have passed through in decades. But people keep coming to Moonville Tunnel, searching for something that might still be there. Moonville was a small mining town established in the 1850s along the Marietta and Cincinnati Railroad. The town was so remote that the only way in or out was along the railroad tracks, which meant walking through the tunnel. This proved deadly. Over the years, multiple people were killed by trains in and around this tunnel. A brakeman was struck while signaling an oncoming locomotive. Townsfolk walking to neighboring communities misjudged the speed of approaching trains. The exact death toll is disputed, but the tragedies were real and documented. By the early 1900s, the mines closed and Moonville became a ghost town. The last residents left by the 1940s. The railroad stopped running in the 1980s. The tunnel remained. Today, Moonville Tunnel is one of the most visited haunted locations in Ohio. Visitors report seeing strange lights inside the tunnel, hearing phantom train whistles, and encountering apparitions of the people who died here. The most famous ghost is a brakeman who was killed on the tracks, said to still wave his lantern to warn oncoming trains that no longer exist. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, walking through Moonville Tunnel is an experience. The darkness is complete. The brick walls drip with moisture. The isolation is profound. And the documented history of what happened here makes every sound feel significant. Number 13, Chestnut Grove Cemetery, Ashtabula County. In the remote northeastern corner of Ohio, there's a cemetery that most people have never heard of, but that paranormal investigators consider one of the most active sites in the state. Chestnut Grove sits at the end of a dead-end road surrounded by woods and farmland, far from anywhere. The cemetery dates back to the 1800s and contains graves of Civil War soldiers, pioneer families, and generations of local residents. Nothing about its history explains why this place has become a magnet for strange reports. Visitors describe seeing figures moving between the headstones. Cars have allegedly stalled and refused to start. Electronic equipment malfunctions. Some people report feeling watched or touched by something invisible. The cemetery is still active and maintained, but its remote location means few people visit except those specifically seeking something paranormal. Local authorities have dealt with trespassing issues over the years, and the site has gained a reputation that draws curiosity seekers from across the region. Number 12, The Ridges, Athens County. On a hill overlooking Ohio University sits a complex of buildings that housed one of the most infamous mental institutions in state history. For over a century, this was the Athens Lunatic Asylum, a place where thousands of patients lived, suffered, and died far from public view. The institution opened in 1874 with optimistic goals about treating mental illness through rest, fresh air, and structured activity. The grounds were designed to be therapeutic, with walking paths and views of the surrounding hills. But as decades passed and funding dried up, conditions deteriorated badly. Patients were subjected to lobotomies, hydrotherapy, electroshock therapy, and other treatments now considered barbaric. Overcrowding became severe. At its peak, the asylum held nearly 2,000 patients in facilities designed for half that number. The tuberculosis ward was particularly grim, holding patients with both mental illness and infectious disease. The institution finally closed in 1993, after decades of declining population and mounting criticism. Ohio University acquired the property and converted some buildings for academic use, but others remain abandoned, their hallways empty, their rooms still marked with the stains of what happened inside.
Oh, the chat's working right.
The most famous story involves a patient named Margaret Schilling, who disappeared in December 1978. Staff searched the building but couldn't find her. Over a month later, her body was discovered in an unused ward on the top floor. She had died of heart failure due to exposure. The outline of her body remains permanently stained into the concrete floor, visible to this day despite attempts to remove it.
Ew.
Tours are occasionally offered, but much of the complex remains off limits. The buildings that haven't been renovated stand as monuments to a darker era of mental health treatment, their windows staring blankly over the university below. Number 11, Boston Mills Cemetery, Summit County. Back in Helltown territory, there's a small cemetery that has generated its own set of legends separate from the broader area. Boston Mills Cemetery sits on a hillside, accessible by a narrow road that feels increasingly wrong the further you drive. The cemetery itself is real and historic, containing graves dating back to the early 1800s, but the stories surrounding it have taken on a life of their own. People claim the road to the cemetery is haunted by ghostly figures. They report seeing a hearse that appears in their rearview mirror and then vanishes. Some say the gravestones move, or that faces appear in the darkness between the trees. What's actually documented is less supernatural, but still unsettling. The cemetery has been vandalized repeatedly over the years. Satanic rituals were allegedly performed here in the 1970s and 1980s. The combination of real desecration and imagined horrors has made Boston Mills Cemetery a destination for thrill seekers and paranormal investigators alike. And hey, I hope you're enjoying this countdown of Ohio's hidden places. If you are, take a second to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Now let's continue with some places you definitely weren't supposed to find. Number 10. Rogues Hollow, Wayne County. In the hills south of Doylestown, there's a small valley that was once one of the roughest places in Ohio. They called it Rogues Hollow because of the criminals, outcasts, and hard men who lived here during the coal mining era. And the stories from that time have never stopped circulating. In the 1800s, Rogues Hollow was a lawless coal mining community. Saloons outnumbered churches, fights were constant, murder was not uncommon. The miners who worked these hills lived hard and died young, and their spirits are said to remain. The most famous legend involves a headless ghost that appears on a bridge over Chippewa Creek. Another story tells of a burning ghost rider on horseback, Crybaby Bridge, where a mother allegedly threw her infant into the water, draws visitors looking to hear phantom cries in the night. Today, Rogues Hollow is quiet. The mines closed long ago. The saloons are gone, but the valley retains its reputation, and the old coal mining infrastructure, including abandoned mines and collapsing buildings, adds to the atmosphere of a place that refuses to let go of its past. Number 9. Gore Orphanage Road, Lorain County. The name alone is enough to draw curiosity seekers, and for decades, Gore Orphanage Road has been one of the most legendary haunted locations in Ohio. The problem is that almost everything people believe about it is wrong. The legend claims that an orphanage once stood in these woods, and that it burned down with all the children inside. Visitors report hearing children's screams, seeing ghostly figures, and finding the still smell smoke on certain nights, but there was never. These are actually the remains of a mansion called Swift.
Warning.
Burned.
I don't know what the
entire
hell's
legend
going on.
was
I can't get
fabricated,
shit.
probably conflating the creepy ruins with stories from an actual orphanage miles away. Despite being thoroughly debunked, Gore Orphanage Road remains popular. The ruins of Swift's Hollow still stand, the road still winds through dark forests, and people still come looking for ghosts that never existed, proving that sometimes the legend matters more than the truth. Number 8. Malabar Farm, Richland County. This entry isn't abandoned or haunted, but it holds a dark celebrity connection that most visitors never learn about. Malabar Farm is a beautiful working farm and state park in north-central Ohio. It was established by Pulitzer Prize-winning author Louis Bromfield, who turned it into a showplace of sustainable agriculture. But Malabar Farm is also where Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall were married in 1945, and it was here that something far darker happened decades later. In 1999, a man named Jeffrey Lundgren, leader of a cult that had splintered from the Mormon Church, murdered a family of 5 and buried them in a barn on a farm near Kirtland, about 100 miles away. Lundgren had no direct connection to Malabar Farm, but the story of the Lundgren cult, combined with Ohio's other strange religious history, has cast a shadow over many rural properties in the state. Malabar Farm itself remains a peaceful place to visit, but knowing what has happened in the Ohio countryside adds an edge to even the most beautiful locations. Number 7. Beaver Creek State Park, Abandoned Village, Columbiana County.
Able to
Along
see
the
my
Little Beaver
vertical?
Creek in eastern Ohio, hidden in the woods of a
I had to
state
set up
park,
2
lie
separate
the ruins of
screens.
several villages that most visitors never find. These weren't
YouTube
famous towns.
does that
They
automatically
didn't die in
for
dramatic fashion.
some
They
people,
simply faded away.
but I
And now
actually
the
had
forest
to
is slowly erasing what
schedule
remains.
2 separate streams.
The villages grew up in the early
And
1800s around
completely,
mills and the
like,
Sandy and Beaver Canal.
YouTube usually puts
Pioneer
them
families
together
built homes, churches, and businesses
in
along
some
the
of the
creek.
new
For a few decades,
versions of
this
the
valley was alive with industry
software,
and community.
but
But the canal
some,
failed. The mills closed.
it's like a
By
beta
the late
thing,
1800s,
and some people don't
most
get it, and
residents had
apparently
moved
I'm
on.
not good enough.
Today, the ruins are scattered throughout Beaver Creek State Park. Old stone foundations hide in the underbrush. Cemetery headstones lean at angles, their inscriptions worn away by time. Lock 41, known locally as Gretchen's Lock, has its own ghost story involving a young girl who died of malaria and is said to still haunt the towpath.
Hey, what's up, Wikimoto?
These aren't destinations that the park advertises. You have to know where to look. Number 6. Newburgh State Hospital Ruins, Cuyahoga County. On the edge of Cleveland, the remains of what was once a massive tuberculosis hospital complex sit abandoned in the woods. Most Clevelanders have no idea this place exists. Those who find it aren't supposed to be there. Newburgh State Hospital was built in the early 1900s when tuberculosis was killing thousands of Americans each year.
So they're working,
The
both
hospital
working?
complex sprawled across hundreds of acres with patient wards, staff housing,
Carney?
and support buildings. At its peak, it held over 1,000 patients, many of whom never left.
So
When antibiotics
evidently what I'm
finally
going to have
conquered
to do
TB in the
is
mid-20th century, Newburgh began to
schedule
close. By the 1970s,
two
the hospital was
lives.
abandoned. Most buildings were demolished,
Well, I'll
but
just have
some
to
remain
actually
standing in
have
various
two
states of
scheduled.
decay.
I have to have
Today, the ruins are
Hittin
on
It with
land that has been
HardWire
partially
episode blah, blah,
developed
blah.
and partially left to nature. The buildings that survive are heavily
horizontal,
deteriorated
and
and
then
dangerous to enter.
schedule another one for
Urban
the same
explorers
time
have
and call it
documented the
vertical
remains over the years,
and give
but
it
the site is
each
officially
one of
off
them a different
limits,
stream
and
key.
trespassing is prosecuted.
and then I can
Number
send them
5.
both out at the same time. It's like a
Crybaby Bridge,
workaround.
multiple locations. Ohio has more
sometimes
crybaby bridges than any
YouTube
other
does
state
that
in America.
automatically for
At
some
least a
people. It's
dozen
in a
bridges across
beta
Ohio claim
thing.
the same basic legend.
I can
A
do
mother
it,
threw
but
her
it
baby from the bridge,
doesn't let me
and now visitors can hear the
choose two
infant
different-
crying in the night. The most famous is in Rogues Hollow, but others
Excuse me,
exist
it
in
doesn't let
Preble
me
County,
choose,
Muskingum County, Adams County, and elsewhere.
I can
Why does
choose
Ohio
dual,
have so many of
like
these legends? No one
dual
knows for
stream,
sure.
but it
Some
automatically
folklorists believe the
chooses
stories
one or
spread
the
along
other,
the old canal
and it
railroad routes that
forcibly
connected
like
Ohio's
just
small
cuts it,
towns.
crops it.
Others think the flat,
It won't
often
let
flooded
me
landscape
send
of Ohio's creek valleys
my
created
own
perfect acoustic conditions for strange sounds that
horizontal
people
and
interpreted
vertical
as crying.
stream the way I
Whatever
want
the
it.
explanation, the sheer
It'll
number
just
of crybaby
make it an
bridges in
automatic
Ohio
cut
suggests
one.
something about the state's relationship with tragedy and memory. Each bridge
So
has its
until
own specific
YouTube
story,
rolls
its own
out
claimed history, and its
the
own
ability
devoted
to set it
believers who swear
yourself
they've
on
heard
a single
sounds that
stream,
can't
I
be
have to
explained.
set two different streams.
Number 4.
It is a pain in the ass.
Prospect
I see why some people
In
don't
the
do it.
rolling farmland of eastern Ohio stands a mansion that was once a stop on the Underground Railroad. Prospect Place
It
has a
would be
heroic
easy to
history of
do
sheltering escaped slaves on their journey to freedom. But
if
it also has a
YouTube
reputation as one of the most haunted private
had that
residences in the state.
feature
The
enabled for
mansion was built in
everybody.
1856
I-
by
it
George
doesn't-
Willison Adams, an
where you
abolitionist who
can
used his home to
have
guide freedom seekers traveling
two
north.
separate like
Secret rooms and hidden
streams that you
passages
of your
were built into the
choice. Like
structure
I have
specifically for this
a
purpose.
vertical
The house remained in the Adams family for generations.
and a
before
horizontal that
falling
I've
into
laid out
disrepair.
myself.
Today, Prospect Place has been
And
partially
if you
restored and offers ghost hunts and paranormal tours.
if YouTube had
The
it
spirits said to
enabled,
inhabit the
I could-
mansion include former slaves who died before reaching freedom, members of the Adams family, and a mysterious woman in white.
But I
seen in the
suppose that makes
upstairs
sense why you
windows.
wouldn't be able to do
Whether
that
the
because it
ghosts are
saves
real
it
or not, the history
as a
certainly
single
is.
stream, I
Making
think.
Prospect Place, one of the most significant underground railroad sites still standing in Ohio.
Just
Number
cropped
3,
differently.
Lakeview Cemetery Tunnel, Cleveland. Beneath the famous Lakeview Cemetery, where
So it
President
would have to
Garfield
be
is
two
entombed
separate
and John
streams
P. Rockefeller is buried. There's
if
a
it
tunnel
looks
that most
different.
visitors never see, and the stories about what happens down there have
I don't
circulated
mind, it's
through
just a little bit of
Cleveland
pain in
for
the butt.
generations. The tunnel was built to allow Doane Brook to flow under the cemetery rather than through it. It's a practical piece of infrastructure.
But did the
nothing
chat
more.
come up
But its location beneath
from both?
thousands of graves has fueled decades of legends.
I
People
wonder-
claim the tunnel is haunted by the spirits of those buried above. Others say satanic rituals have been performed inside. Some believe the tunnel
Yeah,
connects
it
to a
is.
larger system of underground passages beneath.
I could see both of
What's
the
actually true is that the tunnel exists. It's
YouTube
accessible
chats.
from certain points, and it's extremely dangerous. Flash flooding is a real risk. The structure is deteriorating, and yet people continue to explore it, drawn by the irresistible combination of a tunnel, a cemetery, and the promise of something hidden in the darkness. Number 2, Mounds of the Hopewell.
So it worked.
Multiple locations.
It's just a little bit of a
Scattered
pain in the
across
ass.
Ohio are earthen mounds built by indigenous people over 2,000 years ago.
I'm
Some
not
are
sure why
protected as national
it's
monuments,
all glitchy
others sit on
though.
private
Is,
land, hidden from
is
public
anybody
view,
else seeing the
and a few
choppiness?
have been destroyed entirely, their secrets lost forever. The Hopewell culture constructed these mounds for purposes we still don't
Is it
fully
looking choppy
understand.
for anybody else?
Some were burial sites, others appear to have astronomical alignments.
Maybe
Some
it's on my
form
monitor that it
geometric
looks
patterns
choppy, but I thought I was
visible only
watching it
from above
earlier,
flexible centuries
and it kind of
before
looked
human
choppy.
flight was possible. Fort Ancient in Warren County, the Newark Earthworks in Licking County, and Serpent Mound in Adams County are the most famous, but hundreds of smaller mounds exist throughout the state. What makes this entry unsettling is how many mounds have been lost. Farmers plowed them flat, developers built over them, looters dug into them searching for artifacts. Ohio once had thousands of these ancient structures. Now only a fraction survive. The mounds that remain are monuments to a civilization that built on a massive scale and then vanished.
It looks like
leaving
I'm still
behind
seeing it.
mysteries that archaeology is still trying to solve. If you've made it this far, drop a comment and let us know which of these places you'd want to explore. And stay with us because our number one
I've got
entry is a place so
a really,
tied to suffering
really
and
good
death,
internet
even
connection, and
people
I've got a
who
really
believe
good
in
computer, and it
hauntings
says
feel something wrong
that
there.
I should be able to do that
The
with
Ohio
no
State
issue.
Reformatory, Mansfield. Rising from the farmland of north central Ohio,
Maybe if I
like a
turn the
Gothic
bit
cathedral
rate
of
down a
punishment,
little bit,
the Ohio
because
State
I do have the bit
Reformatory
rate,
is one of the most
both the bit
recognizable
rates
and
cranked up.
disturbing buildings in America. It was designed to intimidate. It was built to break men. And by the time it closed, so much suffering had occurred within its walls that many believe something of that anguish remains. The reformatory opened in 1896 as a facility for first-time offenders.
I
meant
wasn't going to do the
reform
whole
rather than
vertical
simply
thing,
punish. The
but if
architecture was
you
deliberately
go over to the
imposing,
vertical
meant to
side,
inspire
it
respect
is
for
set
the
up
law.
kind of cool looking.
But what happened
I have to
inside
give it
was
that.
far
It is
less
set up kind of
noble.
cool looking.
As decades passed, the reformatory became
I
severely
spent a little bit of time
overcrowded.
setting it up, and I like the way
Violence
it's
was
set up.
constant.
I don't want to do the
Disease
auto
spread through
cropping
the
thing
cramped
because
cell blocks.
I like the vertical
Prisoners
like
were
this. It's
subjected
set
to
up neat.
conditions that would eventually be ruled unconstitutional. At least 215 inmates died during the facility's operation, many from poor conditions rather than natural causes. The reformatory finally closed in 1990.
And I
after
don't
a
know if you've
federal
seen
court
the,
ruled it inhumane.
when I played
The
the
building
intro, I'll
sat
switch over
empty
real
and
quick. I'm not
deteriorated
leaving or
until a
anything just yet,
preservation
but
society began restoration efforts.
whenever I do that.
Warning. This show may contain offensive content.
Films, most
When I do
famously,
the intro over on the
Shawshank
vertical
Redemption.
side, it
But
kind of
beneath the
makes it come
Hollywood
up in a little, it
connection
looks like a
lies a
phone, like
real
you're holding a
history of
phone.
human suffering.
I thought it was kind of
Visitors
neat.
report overwhelming feelings of dread in certain cell blocks. They hear sounds from empty corridors. They see shadows moving in cells that have been empty for decades. Paranormal investigators
That way
have
you can
called
get
it
the
one of the most
whole
active locations they've
thing.
ever studied. Whether you believe the reformatory is haunted or not, walking through those cell blocks, standing in the world's largest freestanding steel cell block, you can feel the weight of everything that happened here. Over 100 years of punishment, thousands of lives damaged or destroyed, and a building that seems determined to remember.
Must
even
be
if
haunted,
everyone else
Ohio.
wants to forget. The Ohio State Reformatory isn't
I've been to
hiding.
the Ohio
You
State
can find it on Google
Reformatory. It
Maps
just
or
looks like
book
a
tour. But what happened inside those walls,
an old
that's
building
what
with
they
paint
don't
flaking
want
off
you to see.
everywhere. It's not.
There
There's
you
nothing
have
really
it.
that creepy about it.
15 places in Ohio that exist in the shadows, hidden from casual view and tourist guides.
Mansfield,
From
Ohio.
legendary haunts to genuine historical tragedies.
It's where they filmed the
These locations
Shawshank
reveal a
Redemption.
side of
They
Ohio
actually have the
most
set
people
from the
never
Shawshank
encounter.
Redemption
If you
still
enjoyed this
set up
journey,
inside
make sure to
part of
subscribe and
the
let us know in the comments
building.
which place surprised you most. We'll see you in the next video.
If you're old enough to remember the Shawshank Redemption, that was a pretty good movie, though. Do I personally believe in ghosts and things? I'm one of them kind of people where I don't necessarily believe or disbelieve. I don't know. I consider I guess, a skeptic. I don't really think it's nearly what people say it is. I'm not saying I've ruled out entirely. I think, what do they call that? Paranoid, induced hallucinations or whatever, where your mind can play tricks on you because you freak yourself out. I believe that is a very real thing, where you could freak yourself out to the point where you start really believing you're seeing shit. I don't know. I don't, like I say, I don't mess with the occult because of that. I just don't think it's worth messing with. I'm not saying that it is or isn't real. I don't know. I would just consider myself a very cautious skeptic, I guess. Just don't believe it's worth messing around with. If it is real, you don't want to mess with it. If it isn't real, you know, it's not, I don't find it fun. It's said in the Bible that things like possessions and things are real. So I'm a Christian, so I have to believe. I just think it's a lot more rare than what they play it off, you know. Send a couple pics to what? Messenger? Sorry, I'm slow. Fuck, you're on an airplane? Ha ha. I wondered why nobody been hearing from me lately. On a fucking plane. Right on. I still want to get. I've never been on a plane. I think it's a friend of mine told me it's something everybody ought to do at least once in their life. But like I say, as far as the occult and stuff, I'm just one of them. I just don't mess with it, man. It's not worth it. What's up, Beezer? Which side are you on? Are you on the vertical side or the horizontal? I got both to work, but I have to. What I have to do is I have to schedule 2 separate streams and put in 2 separate stream keys, and actually send out 2 completely separate like broadcasts rather than StreamYard. I can't see. I wasn't going to do the vertical thing, but I kind of like it. It's kind of neat looking. I set it up differently. If you go over to the horizontal side, it looks different. So I actually set them up to look completely different. A lot of people, what they'll do is like you can click on dual stream on YouTube, and it'll just crop your vertical, and that's not what I want to do. It looks stupid and it looks horrible, and it's really hard to make it look like anything worth watching. Oh, really? Cool. Maybe it'll recommend me to some people. See, I noticed that's seems to be how Mike gets a lot of his views, and a lot of people we don't recognize popping in. It seems like a lot of people get it popping up in their verticals when they're like kind of like TikTok flipping, and it pops up in their possible like live people verticals and stuff. So I thought I'd get more exposure if I just I have to turn the bit rate down. I think that's why I'm getting this, because I'm sending out 2 separate streams, but I got the bit rate cranked real high, which works good if you only have 1 stream going. But since I've got 2, it's not that. It's just a lot of information flowing at one time. My card and my computer can both handle doing it. Yeah, I'm actually gonna. I have a little more time on my hands now. For those of you that I don't get a chance to talk to very often, Wickmoto, you're fairly new to the channel. I was a 1%er, okay, and I've been in the club life for a very long time, and unlike a lot of the 1%ers you see all over YouTube, I'm in good graces, at least that I know of so far. I'm in good graces with the club I was with, and I want to keep it that way. So I'm not gonna. They never wanted me to. It was okay as long as I wasn't talking about it or telling people who I was with. So I'm not gonna get on here and start blubbering it out. And anybody that I talk to personally, I usually don't have a problem with telling them. I'm allowed to tell them as long as I trust they're not gonna get on my channel and start blabbering it out or go on with, like Hollywood's or anybody else's and start blabbering it out. Something wrong? But I recently parted ways. I left in good graces to try to do some of my own things. I bought a camper recently, and I've been taking up. I've always wanted a camper. I never had one, but I bought one recently, and I'm taking up traveling more and camping and trying to do some fishing and things that I've got a bunch of projects I need to get done. I got another bike that's been sitting out there. It just needs painted. It's been sitting out in my garage. I took it apart like 4 or 5 years ago, and I still haven't had a chance to get it done. And this summer, I might actually get that chance, and I'm looking forward to a chance to get that done. And I still go hang out with the guys and stuff. I miss it. I'm kind of in a weird spot right now, like in my life. And anybody that is ever in this situation might understand. And I don't like to shit talk clubs a lot, but I knew what I was getting into this time around. I found out the hard way before when I was in a support club. Motorcycle clubs are very much most of them only call you brother and call you family as long as you're wearing their patch. And as soon as you're not, they don't give a flying fuck about you. And to me, that's never a family. You're never family with somebody that will, the next day, act like you don't exist. And I was never that way. To me, if I called somebody a brother and they ever needed me for anything, they were always welcome to ask. And I will do my best to help in any way that I can. But I'm in a weird spot because now, after years of being around motorcycle clubs, I brushed off all the people that I had that were regular friends. So I'm like, I got to go do this. I got to go do that. So they always wanted to hang out and I couldn't. And now I really am in a spot where I don't even have any fucking regular friends. YouTube's the closest thing I got to regular friends, sadly enough. My wife, I got a brother that's been bugging me to go fishing for 3 years. I said, Merry Christmas. He says, hey, did you forget we're supposed to go fishing? I said, what, ice fishing? He gets a hold of me every once in a while and says, hey, man, we need to get together and go do something. And then 2 years go by and we didn't, and I want to remedy that a little bit more. I have a little brother that won't talk to me. I have no fucking idea why he won't talk to me. It just one day, out of the blue, just quit talking to me, fucking don't know why. Hey, what's up, Ghost Eagle? Yeah, so, I feel sorry for a lot of people that don't. Whenever I was in support clubs for a long time. I never quite made that step up to a 1% club. And I didn't think I'd ever do it. I didn't think being older and with my health, I'd be able to. And then when I finally I got away from it for a little while, And I got into contact with some people I was in a club with before, and they, at any rate, a lot of them tried to get me to come hang out, and I went and hung out, and I decided to go ahead and try. But I knew from my years of being around in sport clubs and whatnot, I knew what I was getting into, and I knew what it was going to be like, and I knew most of the people, the brotherhood to them is all, to most is fake, not to all people. All people aren't like that, but to most of them, or many of them, I should say, not necessarily most. And unfortunately, a lot of times you don't get to find out who the real, true brothers are, and sometimes they won't let them talk to you. If they decide that they want to stick around, they have to make a choice. It's like, I'm either going to talk to you, or I'm going to catch hell, and I'm not allowed to talk to you no more. And it sucks. It's a sucky position to be in. And I know people who were told they ain't allowed to talk to so-and-so, and they do anyway on the down low, keeping it all quiet. Keep it on down low and still talk to people, but you can't really hang out or anything, because if you get spotted together, you're gonna lose that part of, I don't know. And I miss it. I knew when I walked away from it that there would be an adjusting period. I knew it. It happened to me before. It kind of became something it wasn't supposed to. Like when I started it, one thing was promised to me, and then when new leadership come in, they wandered away from that and decided they wanted to change the way things go. Well, all of a sudden, everything that you joined for isn't the way that it is anymore, so you're kind of left with a choice. You're either going to change to what they want you to change to, or to me, I'm me. I'm never going to change who I am. And that's just it. To me, that's what being a one percenter is. It's being your fucking self and not giving a fuck what anybody else thinks. And they would say, well, shit, a one percenter ain't supposed to do this or act like this. I said, no, one percenter, I'm a one percenter, and I do whatever the fuck I want. And if I want to be this or that, then that's what I am. I don't give a fuck what you think. That's what it was to me. Anyway, I don't mean to go on rants and tangents and whatnot. And I did, like I said, I have figured out, I'm getting to where I'm figuring this out. I walked away from StreamYard, and personally, I think the quality of your streams are better. I'm still working on, I gotta get with somebody that just wants to mess around with it, because I have to figure out how to do like panels. There's this thing called Video Ninja that I can use to do panels now, but I got to figure that out. And I need somebody that someday when they're not busy wants to just fuck with it, play around with it, or, the software, just sit in their front of their computer or their phone. I think you can do it on your phone, and try to do a panel, and like not officially a show or anything, but right, Ghost Eagle. I'm me. Ain't nobody gonna change me. You know what they say about teaching an old dog new tricks? You ain't gonna teach me new. I mean, I learn new information all the time, but the way I am and the way I act is just, it's never gonna change. I am who I am. And whenever me and my wife now got together, I said, look, this is how I am. And that's, you either like it or you don't. And if you don't like it, this ain't for you. You know what I mean? I said, this is me, and this is, if you like that, then we'll work out good together. But if that's not your cup of tea, then you're not going to change me. I'm telling you, I've been this way for too long, and I'm too old. It's just, Right. Yeah, it is getting late. I need to go upstairs and get ready to go to bed. But I did figure it out. I knew I could. Everybody doubts me. I'm pretty tech savvy. I have a tendency to be able to figure things out. I got to turn the quality settings down a little bit because I think that's where the lags, that really high bit rate. Well, Carney, I was gonna like get a hold of you, but I know you're busy right now. Whenever you're done with your traveling and whatnot, let me know, and then we'll try to set something up. Believe it or not, I really and a lot of Harley riders really don't actually give a shit. It's just fun to pick on you. It's fun to pick on. It's fun to rag on people that don't ride Harleys. It's just fun. It's all in good fun. Nobody really gives a shit. Not really. I don't think so, anyway. Jeffrey Epstein. Nice. That's a surefire sign it's time to get off. The ghost of Jeffrey Epstein has entered the building. I have fun. I had a friend of mine that had a Goldwing that I really liked. Some things are pretty fancy. To me, it's just like, dude, I used to ride around in a little Mitsubishi Eclipse. And everybody says, I can't believe you like Harleys in a little Eclipse. I says, believe it or not, this thing's more American made than most other cars are. Because you open up the door, there's a big old stamp right on the door that says made in the USA. And most Hondas are more or just as much made in America than Harleys are. I just like, Harleys are like the muscle car of the motorcycle world. You get that low thump and that, I don't know, there's something about them I like. It's just some matter of taste. Would I ever ride anything else? I was thinking about getting a adventure bike, like it's basically an enduro, like a dirt bike, kind of. It's a hybrid with on-road and off-road tires. I was thinking about getting one. I thought it'd be, because when I was a kid, we all, like a bunch of us rode dirt bikes, and my friends rode dirt bikes, and I never got a chance. I kind of graduated straight to motorcycles, and I think it'd be fun, but it wouldn't be fun when I wreck. And inevitably, if I'm off roading on a dirt bike, I'm probably going to wreck it. I want to get a four-wheeler, another four-wheeler. I had one. I bought it used, and it was a piece of shit. But I had it for one summer, and I beat the tar out of it, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I want to get another one eventually, but I'm po. I'm po. I'm po. I'm too po for that. Oh, jeez. That'd probably be fun. It's all about having fun. My old leader, I guess you could say, I don't know exactly how to put it, but at any rate, he'll dog you about Harleys, but he's got a garage with about 20 motorcycles in it, and about 4 or 5 of them are Harleys, and the rest of them are all like, I think he's got a Hayabusa, like, I don't know, he's got all kinds of different bikes in his garage. He's a legitimate motorcycle fanatic, not necessarily just Harley fanatic. And I think that's cool too, man. I think to most people, like I said, it's more about having fun picking on people. My little brother rode around the V-Star for a long time, and we had fucking a lot of fun picking on him. I'll tell you one of the funnest things to do, and we used to make prospects do it all the time, or probates, or whatever your club might call them. We used to make them carry around a bag of rice, and every time we go somewhere and they see a motorcycle as a foreign bike, we'd make them tell them that they had to sprinkle rice around their exhaust pipes. It was funny. I don't know if that's a common thing, but it was around here, at least in the circles I ran in for years. And if not, I gave you a good idea. When I do this show and do this, if you go back and you watch through all my shows, I'll tell you, I'd really like most of you, because I have heard that some of the people on YouTube that are in circles that we run around in are very much kind of their online thing is like a persona. It's a personality. It's not who they really are in real life. And I'll tell you right now, what you see on my show is me. And I want everybody to feel like if they ever met me, fuck, they already know me. They can shake my hand and already feel like we're almost family already. You know, and that's how I'd like it to be. Yeah, Ghost Eagle, that's me. I get on here for, like, I don't grift, I don't beg people bum money or whatever. On my intro and my outro, it's got other people's stuff. If I just don't have enough watch hours. I have enough subscribers. I don't have enough watch hours. If I get to the point where there's super chats and things like that, and people decide they want to send me a super chat or something, I'll be fine with it. But as far as me getting on and doing that, I don't like it. I mean, I don't have a problem with people who do. It's not like that. I don't feel comfortable doing it. And I don't do this for money. I do it for the people that I meet, the people I get a chance to talk to online, and the friends that I might run into. And I know there are some people out there that are fake, and I'm well aware of that. You don't always run into the best ones, but I'm pretty good at weeding them out for the most part. I mean, sometimes it's almost impossible until you actually meet them and sit down and have a real good conversation with them. Then it's not hard usually to tell. And I want my kids to be able to look back. I wish I had something like this of my parents or my grandpa talking and stuff that I could look back and watch. That would be so awesome. So I want my kids to be able to look back, and when they get older and I'm not around anymore, and same for my friends and anybody else that wants to, you know, and they could say, hey, here's HardWire, or, you know, my real name, whatever. I will say my nickname for 30 years, for like 30 years was Wolf, because I always felt like the wolf was my spirit animal, and I got a thing for wolves. But whenever I joined this particular club, they already had a wolf man, and they're big on not having repeat names, at least in the same region, especially. And funny enough, I knew this guy since high school. And he must have assumed I'd never come around or something. I don't know. But they changed my name. And if you know anything about road names, you can end up with some real bad ones, or some embarrassing ones, I should say, too. And the fellow that gave me this was actually on my show a while back. If you look back through there, a little Salvadorian fellow. It's cool as fuck. He's a cool dude. Was in the club with me. He gave me the nickname HardWire, or road name HardWire. And I was like, cool. He says, well, do you really want a different one? I said, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'll take it. I'll take it. It could have been way worse. Could have been way worse. I will take it. I'll take it. You didn't give me something dumb and embarrassing. I'm good. And it's different. You don't hear it every day. So out there in the motorcycle world, you get a lot of tinies, and I don't know. You get a lot of names. You don't see a whole lot of hardwires. All right, guys, I'm gonna get off here. I gotta go to bed and get up and go to work in the morning. So I'll catch you later.
The echoes fade, the mic runs cold, the session's done, the raw truth told. Another blessing through the wire, fueled by that 1% of fire. You've heard the facts, you've seen the signs. Hard wires cut between the lines for the insane wheels family, and none who dare to see. You were hitting it with hard wire till the final crashing beat. Yeah, hitting it with hard wire. Truth and power can't be beat. A massive thanks for watching, for tuning in and being real. From hitting it with hard wire, know exactly how we feel. The world keeps spinning, news keeps breaking. No time for sleep, no time for faking. He'll be back here, same damn place, to stare the chaos in the face. Keep your eyes open, mind aware, breathe that unfiltered rebel air. The fight continues day by day.